right, hey guys, it's Brandon Gonzalez. It's been, a couple years that we're doing the Launch podcast, and I'm glad to be back. And if you guys hadn't been watching, or if you're just getting, to watch us for the first time, the goal of this show called The Launch is to basically bring on people that have been, near and dear to me, people that I've crossed in my lifetime, that have just basically have left a little something with me. And also, I've seen them launch into a different stratosphere, whether it be, personal, professionally, spiritually, whatever it is. And I've got the great honor today to have on a good friend of mine, Ed Crema. Ed, what's up?
How you doing, brother? Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, we've been chatting here for a while. So, Ed, let's kind of go back to the history. I know my memory's probably better with it than yours is. So, I met you probably 2010, 2009, 2010.
Around there, probably.
We met through Jiu Jitsu.
Yes, sir.
But let me kind of share what I remember and how you kind of stood out. So, everybody will definitely say, hey, Jiu Jitsu is great for the community. And here I was coming in, and I just knew that there was somebody that was very lively, somebody that would speak up and help out, even though it seemed like you were relatively new to the art as well. And that always stuck with me. And then, I'd run into you, and obviously I'd bother you like, hey, I'm going to be coming back to Jiu Jitsu. And then it finally made its way. But prior to that, what were you doing, and how long had you been, basically in the Jiu Jitsu arena?
So, I wrestled in high school. I wasn't any good at it, but I wrestled in high school, and I just loved it. I started doing weights and going to Bally's back in the day, and just kind of got bored of just pushing weights. Yeah. And then here came a little guy. I don't know if you remember. His name was T. Messed up ear. He was a boxing coach.
Okay.
He did a little MMA, and he would come in, and he was so lively. Kind of like the same idea at the gym at Bally's. And then he was like, "Hey, man, do you want to come in and try out boxing?" Right. And I told him, all right, I'll try it out. But when I was doing the boxing, I saw the guys doing jiu-jitsu in the corner of my eye. I'm like, what's that? And I'm like, those guys do jiu-jitsu. It's like, what is that? Yeah. And then at that time, Ultimate Fighter, I was already watching like Ultimate Fighter and Pride.
Yeah, that's right.
And those things. Big. So I went in there, and I remember the first guy I went with, Troy. Shout out to Troy. I took him down, but then he caught me in a triangle, and I was like, this is the coolest stuff ever. This works. Like right away, I was hooked ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so obviously I got hooked, but you do have, just like anything, right? Life happens. You got to find somebody. You got to find accountability. But let's take a little sidetrack real quick. All right. So, born and raised where?
Venezuela.
Okay. So when did you come over to the beautiful state of California?
2002.
So 2002.
I was 16.
16 years old. What was that like? What was that transition like, thinking back as a 16-year-old? Because those are critical years, you know, going to high school here, right?
Yeah, Bullard.
Yep. I mean, did you feel welcome? Did you blend right in? What was that like?
I came in kind of like on the thinking Hollywood. Yeah. What happens to the new kid in Hollywood? You get picked on.
Oh, yeah, all day.
Right? So I came in kind of thinking like, oh, man, I might be able to have to get in a fight. That might be a real possibility. Total opposite. Everybody was so nice, so cool. Second day, people took me out of campus for lunch because I was a junior.
Right.
Took me out right away. We went to Costco and had some $1.50 hot dogs.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
They're still $1.50 at Costco.
Still,
inflation, but not hot dogs.
Nah, they're impervious to it. Man, everybody in Bullard was really, really nice. I still have some really good contacts. We graduated together. We're still good friends. And it could be years in between our conversations, and you pick up right where you left off. I've seen people do very, very well from there. Some of those guys that I wrestle with now are PMA. They do jiu-jitsu now, so that's pretty cool to see them doing that. But yeah, man, I mean, I cannot complain. Everybody at Bullard was so nice, teachers and students.
So great transition.
Yeah.
Did you come over with family, or like what did that look like?
So parents split up. I came with my mom.
Got it.
That was it. My mom's side of the family already lived here in Fresno. They've been here for a while, so they were established. So I came in and I kind of just went with them, and it was pretty nice. I mean, I can't complain. My cousins I was the oldest, but they helped me a lot with homework and things like that because I wasn't very the studious type or the very academic type. So I had to. That was the hardest part. Okay. People were really nice. It was just me kind of applying myself into school and things like that.
Did you see a difference in culture, like from like the athletics, academics, to, food? I mean, did we push things a little differently? I mean, obviously we do, but like, how did you see it like initially? Like, was it culture shock or like, nah, like this kind of makes sense?
So academics is different because here you have like standardized testing, right? That's kind of like the benchmark. In Venezuela, it isn't. South America, it isn't. Like here, they could give you a question. Hey, what is this? A, B, C, D, E, right? Over there, it's like, what is this? And explain. And then and you got to write a paragraph about it. So I think that is a little bit harder to learn because you actually got to know this subject.
It's like some critical thinking
too. You got to know this subject. When here I got some answers, I can make some educated guesses. I mean, it doesn't work every time, but I felt like, okay, look, I only have to learn some kind of overview of this so I can kind of get it.
Right.
So then I can, educate a guess down to 2, and then I would guess this one. So that did help me out a lot. So, I felt like in Venezuela, they teach you Castilian Spanish.
What is it? Obviously a dialect?
Yeah. So Castilian Spanish is more like Spanish from Spain.
Okay.
So it's very proper. You gotta watch out with your grammar, punctuation, things like that. So I write way better in Spanish than I do in English. I mean, I still do to this day. But I think it really gave me a solid foundation when I moved here.
Oh, right on. So it actually everything probably worked out a little better because you had like just different structure, but you're already basically being pushed to do things outside of the comfort zone. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, and honestly, as a kid, I've never been so much in the comfort zone.
Yeah,
I've always if I go to a restaurant, even if it's the same restaurant I always go to, I always order something new.
Yeah, except he'll order a margarita.
Always a margarita, different flavor margarita though.
Okay, that's true. Yeah. And so I guess the reason why I'm trying to wrap my head around this is obviously you hear different things, and obviously I know that you have a great appreciation for all the opportunities that 100%. You've been presented while you've been here. You've obviously become a citizen. What do you feel has been like one of the defining moments, like coming over and just saying, this is now I feel like I'm home?
I mean, corny as hell, Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
I mean, what people think is that Jiu Jitsu is just gonna get you in shape. 100% it will. However, the community in Jiu Jitsu is the thing that I think pretty much saved my life.
Yeah.
Then now you have mentors.
Yeah.
You see people that are family members. They have good jobs. They have nice houses. They drive nice cars. They're well-mannered. They're gentle, yet they're capable of like some really extreme violence, And that's awesome. So I looked up to a lot of people like Jason, some of our black belts, that I was just like, man, I really want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And then you start picking their brain and start seeing what they do and what they don't do. And, that honestly was the defining factor for me.
Yeah.
And my family's well educated, but I've never been like kind of like the academic smart, I graduated from Fresno State, but I hated school. Except the classes that I liked. The classes that I liked, then I applied myself. Marketing.
Marketing, okay.
Yeah, like marketing. Things I had to stand up and talk. Things I had to like go talk to people. Projects that involved a lot of people. Things that I think that were more applicable to what I wanted to do, which is now sales,
So sales, so let's kind of, fast forward then. You go to college. Like what was that now? You said the defining moment was like just finding that jiu-jitsu community. Yeah. Where do you feel like you really started to just launch off into like, hey, business owner, career man, husband? Like, did it all come together at once, or do you feel there were like just certain points that you were starting to get like, this is the path,
Definitely chapters. Yeah. I always, tell my wife this. I feel like I've had different lives, within this life. I've had different chapters. I think college was, you're playing around. Like I used to pick my classes around my jiu-jitsu schedule. So if I'm training Tuesday, Thursdays, I can do my classes Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, right? But then, I got to pay bills. So I got to get better. So then I started working for State Farm. And then I worked for State Farm for 2 different agents. And then that kind of led me into like the professional world and kind of understanding corporate America a little bit more. Because then I would go to corporate trainings, things like that. They would send me out of town. So when I kind of got the feeling of, oh man, this I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm doing the thing. But then I got immersed as I went up the ranks and I started working for different companies and I moved up to underwriting titles. That there are some things in corporate America I just did not like. Like, for example, like I like golf, but I hate doing business with golf.
I love doing business with golf. So if you guys need a force in your foursome, just give me a holler. But go ahead.
Yeah. Like I didn't like it. It was just too serious. I want to go play golf. I want to pound like 12 beers the whole day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to have a good time. I'm not, you know, if I birdie, I birdie. You know, it's no big deal.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean.
But yeah, you know, it's like, so there were some things I just didn't like. But then what kind of defining factor for me professionally was definitely Corona. Corona hit and I was just like, I'm working way too much. Okay, money's nice, but I'm working way too much. I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
So then I'm all like, what can I do to make equal or more money, but still be happy? And then that's kind of when I stopped doing the insurance thing. I got into medical sales and then obviously the ownership of the gym.
So for those that don't know, he just basically kind of slipped it out there. But so now what positions do you hold, or, you know, like I said, entrepreneur, what titles, and share a little more about that.
So part owner of Pacific Martial Arts, you know, I got a small stake in it.
Right.
That's a business that's been around since 1996. So that's kind of like for me also like was a no-brainer.
That's great.
I mean, Matt Smith created something that's beautiful in which we're all part of. And I'm all like, well, I'm here all the time.
Right.
Why wouldn't I, you know, invest in more time, effort, money, and make it a part of me as well.
Yeah, you've become very synonymous with the Pacific martial arts, especially Jiu Jitsu.
So that's just absolutely my love. It's like not even work. It's my wife's not doing Jiu Jitsu, and you know she helps with the back office things. Matt and his family are amazing. Him and his wife. And then I'm a clinical sales representative for a company called Cranial Technologies, which we do cranial orthotic devices for babies with flat heads, which is plagiocephaly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I call on doctors, pediatrics, and rural clinics mostly, and then those drive referrals in, and then they get the little helmets when they need it.
Right, right.
So those are my
very cool.
two hats.
Well, let's talk a little more about what you got on. I mean, I know there's also like branches off the trees. So
yeah.
What is Jiu Jitsu? What other opportunities has Jiu Jitsu created for you? I mean, obviously the community, the relationships, you know, something to strive for with the great mentors, but now other opportunities that it's presenting to you.
So, for example, there's a few companies that I work with and they host tournaments, and I go and I do referee, or I can kind of help run it. One of them is ADCC. I was in Guadalajara, Mexico last week. Hopefully being in Canada next month. So what they do is that they pretty much have the premier show for no-gi grappling in the world.
Wow.
So they host a series of tournaments all around the world from, you know, South America.
They let you do it?
They let me do it. Their standards are low. The standards are real low. But yeah, so I go and I ref with them, and then it's amazing to see your counterparts from a different language.
Right.
You can see that these people have the same passion, the same integrity, the same work ethic. They're just in Spanish.
That's dope. And so,
you know,
and the other thing about, like, you know, because obviously Jiu-Jitsu is a competition.
Yeah.
Right? Business is a competition.
100%.
You know, but at the end of the day, you know, share with us what you think truly matters in that competition. You know, whether it be the individual, you know, the network, the skills. I mean, where do you kind of place all of those when it comes to
competition itself?
Yeah.
So I actually, white belt and blue belt were amazing. Purple belt I struggled a little bit. So the belts go white, blue, purple, brown, black. So when I got to purple belt, which is kind of like that mid stage, kind of plateau. I lost 3 matches in a row, and you kind of have to stop and be okay. What am I doing? What's wrong? So I start asking people that've been there.
Yep.
And asking about their mindset, because I thought it was a mindset thing, and I was right. It was a mindset thing. It wasn't like a work ethic thing. I was putting in the work.
Yeah.
Actually, the problem was I was overworking. You know, so I was coming in either hurt or too tired, and also my mindset wasn't there. I was thinking already like, okay, I won this. No, I still gotta earn it.
Yeah, yeah.
So the competition turned less and less about me defeating someone and me defeating myself every day.
Right, right.
So, you know, like that 1% a day kind of thing, kind of mentality. So when I would go to these matches, now it was before, you know, you look mean, serious, like, I'm going to go do something hard. Now it's more joyful. Like, I get to do this.
Well, that's the other thing we should let people, I mean, so you also still compete.
Yeah.
Do you have a typical goal of like how many tournaments you'd like to enter, or is it just
Every year I say 8. I never get there.
Okay. How many do you typically get to?
6. Okay. 6 to 7 match. Okay, well, it depends. You know, my level now, it's like I can have like just one match, or I can do a tournament.
Right.
So I'm trying to ump it up. My goal is 8, and then just stay with 8 a year. But like lately, I've been getting to like 5 or 6 in the last few years, especially bro, Corona, nothing, right? 0. But after that,
So this kind of leads me to kind of where I'm trying to weave this all together is, okay, so you have a career, you know, in medical device sales. You have stake, and you're still actively. How many I should say, coaching sessions a week?
Oh, like 5 or 6, depending. Yeah.
Devoted husband. I know you put a lot of time into that.
Yes.
Refereeing when it's necessary.
Yeah.
And then competing, as I said. So we wear a lot of different hats. What's the schedule like?
Hectic. Crazy, right? I'm actually trying to get better at it. I'm trying to read books about it, you know. One of the ones that, what I like a David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. Yeah. He does write out your schedule.
Yep.
And I found that, you know, kind of just Googling how people that done it, kind of put it in your phone.
I'm big on it,
So you put the blocks, and then and then you know. And then I first put the blocks, and the blocks were too generic. Then I have to put like driving time in between the blocks.
Yeah, my wife's like, you need to do that, because I'm always running over like probably.
Exactly. So that helped a lot. But yeah, it gets hectic. I mean, I have to schedule in seeing, you know, something like 8 doctors a day.
Yeah.
A lunch in between in which I got to present, and then I got to be able to get to my class. Right. And not get to class, be engaged to class, have material for the class, right? Hold the class.
Yeah.
I can't just get there and then it's like, hey, I'm here. What do you guys want to learn? No.
Well, because we can tell. So I'm a student of Ed's, and you can tell when people are present and when they're present.
Yes.
And, you know, ready to rock. And I mean, me as a business owner myself, I know that we're all going to have our days, but I do my best. So I guess that's one of the reasons I'm asking, is because there's a lot of people that can learn from somebody that wears these different hats, that has these different channels and runs down these different lanes as to, you know, I'm sure you prioritize.
Yes.
I know that for a fact.
Yes.
It's like when you need your rest, you take your rest.
Correct.
So what's a non-negotiable within your schedule? Like if you were looking at it.
Family time. Yeah. Date night. And date night doesn't have to be out.
Yeah.
Date night could be at home, but we're cooking.
Right.
So date night is very important.
What are you guys cooking?
We do. I mean, it depends. We found a recipe on Instagram. We did that during Corona. We find a recipe, and once a week, we try that recipe. We botched a lot of things, but we did it together.
Should have like an Instagram page for like botched stay at home
botched lasagna. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, family time, I think, is the first one. Then, honestly, I think my brain works family time, training. Because if I'm not physically where I want to be, I don't think I'm mentally where I want to be.
Yeah.
Then work.
I see that.
And then work, you know, kind of split between job and gym. Then everything else.
Right on. So you said that you're reading some books to kind of just maybe tighten some things up. Do you have other, and I know you mentioned Jason earlier, do you have other mentors that you kind of maybe mirror, match, model, or you ask, hey, like, how do you do this or a little better, or what makes you more efficient here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, for example, like our gym has a variety of black belts, a lot of people with different games.
Yeah.
And I like to pick, man, that person does this very well. Right? I think it's the same with my mentors.
Yeah.
Because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect.
This is great advice, because I think there's a lot of people that see one person doing it big, and they're like,
yeah,
but they might fit one bucket, you know, or fill one bucket. It's like, you got to know, like you said, people have different skills and things that they're very proficient at.
Correct. I mean, let's pick the big ones. Okay, Michael Jordan, right? Greatest of all time. To me, right? Talk to his teammates. Everybody hated him.
Yeah.
Right? But he made them, right? So it's kind of like, where do you want to be? Do you want to be liked? Do you want to be disliked? Do you care? Do you don't care? Everybody's going to be different. So I think for me, is I see somebody that I would love to emulate, but again, that bucket, you know. I mean, I love that person's work ethic, but they have no family whatsoever, no family values. So it's like, yeah, I don't need to see that, but I appreciate the ethics part.
That, yeah.
I can see somebody has great family values, but they're a bum, you know? And, you know, I mean, that might be harsh, but they are.
Well, I think there's people that pour so much into their family to where it could be maybe a little much, where it's like, hey, you know, let them fail a little on their own.
Yeah,
you know, especially when it comes to kids, because I'm around, you know, that athletic and academic. It's like, let them fail on their own. They'll appreciate that when they're older.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see super dads and super moms in every athletic field, except, you know, especially like in the gym. And then one thing I do appreciate about jiu-jitsu is that a lot of parents, if they don't train themselves, they can't tell their kids what to do.
Well, that's like me watching volleyball. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's not a sport that I'm familiar with. I'm like, just effort, right? I can scream about effort and attitude, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can always be like, hey, there's a minute left. Let's pick it up. I mean, like, that's universal. But being able to actually say a technique and what they have to do to reach that goal, that's different. So this sport has given a lot of guys that I know, a lot of my friends, they put the kids in, and then about a year in, the kids are like, you can't tell me what to do.
I'll choke you out.
I'm doing it. You're not doing it. And I'm like, all right, I'm starting on Monday.
Yeah.
And now the kids, you know, they get old, they go to school, they stop doing it, they stay with it. So now they're black belts, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's a really cool aspect of it.
What, you know, in terms of, you know, just the advice, because the other great thing of being a part of a gym for how many years? Gosh.
2009.
You know, so we've got, you know, decade plus of experience, of exposure, of leadership. You know, there's a lot of people that I'm sure that have come and go.
Yeah.
What are some of the advice, or what are some of the things that maybe you've picked up along the way? You know, like, did anybody ever, like, was there any aha moment, like, when it came to, like, hey, Ed, bum, 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 this is, you know, whether it be for jiu-jitsu, business, life, that was like, man, that was a great, you know.
Be kind to yourself. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay.
Right.
Like, I got fired from one of my insurance jobs. I made a mistake, and I kind of blew it out of proportion. Work got heated, and I got fired. Best thing that ever happened to me.
Learn from it.
Here's where I am.
Yeah.
I mean, best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
And I got fired, you know, which is not a good thing.
No.
But I'm still, like, in really good terms with everybody that I worked there before. But, like, it was okay, you know.
Yeah.
And if I would have, like, just beat myself over it and over and over about it, they wouldn't have done anything. We're just like, hey, man, you make a mistake. That's okay. Just move on. Yeah. Don't make it again. But move on from it. It's okay to make mistake. It's okay to suck. You know, I tell a lot to these white belts. I don't know what to do. That's okay.
Yeah.
Do what you can. Well, that's not much. Then that's fine.
Right. Well,
just move. Go forward.
Yeah. We have a lot of white belts in business, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the frustrating part is they want to be at that black belt level.
Correct.
But there's an amount of work that needs to go
Correct.
in. Now, can they roll with them? Can they learn from them?
Correct.
Yes. Should they? Yes. But, you know, that's why I've always loved the parallels of jiu-jitsu, business, family, you know, just trusting the process, you know, learning how to take care of, you know, injuries and learn how to take care of relationships, you know. So,
the obstacles, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I get an injury, that's an obstacle, right? It could be an obstacle in business. You had a deal, you know, in your field, you had a deal, fell through. Lone person wasn't good enough. Not here, not in this office.
Nope, not here.
Not here. But I'm just saying, and you know, I've heard things, people in the industry, you know, somebody made a mistake.
Yeah.
Deal's gone, right? You were counting on that. You needed that, right?
Yeah.
It hurts, right? But next time, well, maybe use a different loan person, somebody from this office.
Yeah, preferably.
Or you know, or you just better inspector or better pest control, whatever that is, you know. But you learn, you know, you just learn. I mean, you got to take those licks. I haven't seen, heard, read, or talked about somebody who was successful that didn't suck at the beginning.
That's true. And that's the hard part, right? Because everybody has that fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted. You know, there's even fear of success. Because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. So as we kind of work toward the conclusion of this, think back of, again, you've said some great, you know, things in terms of, you know, like, you're gonna suck. It's okay.
That's fine.
Right? And how you've made the mistakes and you've learned from them. What advice would you give to somebody that's getting ready to start in something, whether it be life, jiu-jitsu, something big, right? They're going to take on a larger challenge. They're opening that business. They're going to take that leap into, a new field. Because you see and you deal with people like this all the time. What's something that maybe you can just let them know, other than, hey, get prepared to suck and prepared to, kind of, what's something else that maybe you can give them?
Realize who you are. I'm a very overview person. I know what the goal is. I don't know how I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be right. Some other people are more meticulous, right? They're gonna go, I just want step one. So having that, I guess, being self-cognitive about it, just like understanding who you are first. Before you embark, I want to be the best real estate agent in California. Okay, cool. If you're just like a go-getter every day, 5 a.m. till 7 p.m. at night, you might be able to just pick it up on the way. Some other people might just need a plan. Okay, I got to get to X, then Y, then Z.
Yeah.
So understand who you are first before you sign up for this. And I didn't get this. Again, I'm an overview guy, right? So A to Z, I didn't realize this till halfway. You're like, oh, this is who I am. Yeah. I'm this type of brain.
Yeah, I went to this conference, and it was actually a great conference. The following year, I had Kobe Bryant there. And my year, he had A-Rod, Ed Milet. I mean, there were some hitters here. Yeah. And the first day he spent on helping people become more self-aware, understanding their self-image, right? Yeah. He goes, nothing else will matter unless we figure this out. So you hit it right on the head. And just the other day, I shared with the group that, I have the great fortune to work with of, I get asked a question a lot, and this is what I heard, right? And it's very similar about, what does it take to make it in this business? Yeah. And this gentleman who I definitely follow because he's got great advice says, it doesn't matter what I tell you, because you won't do it unless you know why you need to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that lines up exactly with understanding who you are first, why you need to do it, and then being able to take all those actions.
Yep.
So, well, I mean, just to kind of, Ed, I met you many years back. I actually thought you were a little older at the time because of your facial hair, but it's all good.
It's the gray hairs.
Yeah, and being able to train has obviously opened my eyes that, and I learned it even in my business, that age don't matter. You can learn from people younger from you. You can learn from people at different levels of experience. 100%. I've shut that down a lot, where I only want to learn from people. I'm learning from white belts. I'm learning from people from day one.
Or just to caveat there, this is the way that we've always done it. I hate that phrase. Oh yeah, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Because you can do something we can do the same thing we're doing, but you can do it differently and it still works. Right. So just
no, it's great. Yeah. And so with that, I hope you continue. You're going to see a lot of fresh faces over the years. Yeah. I've always appreciated the way that you've approached that, and I've learned from that. Even with my industry, like, how am I going to treat people that I know I got to pour into? I want to teach them the skills, but they may not be back next year, right? And I would love to stripe them and give them that next belt, but that's just the reality, is that we're going to have a fallout. 100%. But we don't hold back. Right. Can't. Anything for our lustrous viewers, and hopefully, we get more followers because, you're over here doing the thing.
No, man, I mean, thank you for having me. I mean, I think talking about things like this is very important. You never know who's listening that might be like, hey, man, that's a nice little nugget of information. I'm going to keep that. For sure. Next, so I mean, things like this are great. It just helps people that you didn't even know. 10 years from now, be like, hey, you remember that podcast you did? Yeah. So I've been in a few of these, and I love just talking to people. That's like my thing. Just talking to people and just kind of learning about them and what makes them click and just being better.
Right on. Well, thank you all for listening in. Ed, thank you, my man.
My man.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Signing out. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.
Take care.